I'm checking to see if our speakers are all available or if they've all joined. But before that, we should just commence with our formalities. This is IAMESEP. We usually carry out this every last Wednesday of the month. And last Wednesday, we actually invited someone from Zimbabwe that talked on the business of mining. This month, it has become onus on us to discuss the issues that are very critical and have been in the front burner of our sector. Mitchell, I would transfer, I don't know if I transfer host to you. In case my network here seems to be very unstable. Okay, but let me go. Then, so today we'll be discussing a very important issue, very critical, the face of Nigerian solid mineral government, the new rate of payments, and the realities. So these have become a critical issue for us. Why is it critical? Because this actually affects everyone and also affect the sector, whether negatively or positively. IAMESEP is Initiative Advancement in Mining. That is the platform we are using today to actually bring this discussion. It is an initiative advancement in mining, earth sciences, and environmental protection. And this has been bringing such discussion for about 2-3 years now. We are non-charitable, we are non-governmental, composed of different stakeholders, some practitioners, some mining engineers, miners. A lot of people here have interest in mining. That's why we are together. And what we've tried to do is to bring awareness, bring advocacy to the general public. We also ensure that through this awareness, that our resources at different levels, we also want to ensure that what we have are judiciously managed for sustainability's sake. That is why this initiative actually been established. We need to give thanks to Dr. Mrs. Salau, who actually started this. We are just trying to carry out some of the directives and instructions, what she had actually started 2 years ago. So today we will be going straight away. I think with Dr. Ms. Salau, you are here. I think I heard your voice before. Have you joined us? Okay. If you've joined us, okay.
I've joined you, but my network here is not stable. That's why I'm trying to adjust my.
Okay. You can just make a 30 seconds opening remark. Then we can take it from there.
Thank you very much. You're all welcome on board. It's another day with all critical emerging situation in our mining sector. But it's not talk. We talk, from there we do something. And that thing that we're about to put together today will be part of what we are going to now bring up on board to the media to see to what we are talking about. Where it is not favorable for us, we speak out and we give the reason why. Where it is somehow favorable to the nation, we let them know too, and then we back it up with our own action. We need successful deliberation throughout. And that is why we are here, and that is what we are going to do. Thank you.
Okay, ma. Thank you. Thank you so much. for that brief introduction. Actually, what brought this, all of us, if we are conversant with what is going on, we understood what actually brought there have been a lot of issues within the mining sector for the past 3 months now. You know, the federal government, through the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, has raised the dues and rates paid by operators in the mining sector. The Minister of Solid Mineral Development, Honorable Minister Dele Alake, announced the price increase sometime July, I think by 4th July, during a press conference at the ministry's headquarters. He said that the government had raised a total of about 286 items, up to 50%, adding that compliance will actually begin immediately, and that actually started. And he also warned that several, that if any defaulters is actually caught, that the license will be revoked. So he went on to said review.
What day? It will be over.
So he went on to review, Madam, mute yourself. He went on to also review necessary dues, you know, and these views actually went up. And that had been the issue till date. You know, he said, so I should quote him, that in line with the powers conferred on me by Mining and Mineral Act, I set up a committee of directors of departments and directors of general agencies under the ministry and charged them with the mandate to work out new ways to justify government investment in service, infrastructure, and to cope with the expected meteoritic spike in the traffic of applicants using the regulatory machinery. So today, this has become an issue that almost everybody is talking about. And 2 days ago, I saw also a letter written. I've seen several letters written by companies, by individuals, and also some stakeholders. In short, that the letter before me now that was sent to our platform by Patrick Odiegu. That letter was signed by, is a kind of a position paper by concerned stakeholders of the Nigerian mineral and mining sector on the wholesome development in the Nigerian mineral resources sectors and the need for urgent action to save the industry. So this paper was actually signed by all presidents, signed by NMG's president, Professor Akineda Olatunji, was signed by MAN president Dele Ayaleke, then it was signed by Janet Adeyemi. Several others signed this paper, stating their position on the new rates and the state of affairs. There are a lot of things that was actually mentioned in that paper, which I'm not going to be talking about, but I know that about 7 items was actually mentioned in that paper, and which involves one of the things we are talking today, and the government interferences in this. So that's actually why we are here. So we are not the only ones. So we try to see what is the way forward in this. What can we do? Is there anything that the government could actually take out of this? So we've called in some people that are actually also experienced in this sector to help us in this discussion. We have here, we have 3 speakers, and these are notable individuals who have actually, who are stakeholders in the sector, who have actually worked in these public services, who are also working right now, and some also business people in the mining sector. I will, okay, let me just show us we have 3 of them here. Let me read out the profile, brief profile for us to see who are going to take some of our discussion today. Okay. Here we have Mr. Dele Ayanleke. He's actually a notable person in the industry. He's a seasoned professional in this industry, holds an MBA from the University of Ilorin and diplomas from Polytechnic Ibadan with certifications in gemstones identification and mining. He began his career in 1990.
Okay, see, Mr. Gideon is back online.
Does he know we can't hear him?
Mitchell.
Okay,
Mitchell,
sorry.
please take over.
Okay, Mitchell, please. Definitely I'm in the field. I'm just trying to make introduction so that you can take over, because I don't trust the network in this country. We're all having the same issues everywhere. This is not Nigeria, but still having the same issues. Okay, please. I think I will just quickly read out what I wanted to read. So I was introducing Mr. Dele, MAN president. I said in the miners, he is the president of Miners Association of Nigeria. He has also served as assistant secretary of the Oyo State chapter and was elected national secretary in 2014. In August 2023, he was elected national president of the association, where he played a key role in advancing Nigeria's solid mineral sector. He's also active in several national economic and mining initiatives, including NAITI, where he serves as a co-chair of the company's forum.
Mitchell.
Good afternoon. Okay, I'm going to take off from there.
Take it over. Take it over.
Yes.
Okay, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
National diploma from the Polytechnic Ibadan. He also has certificates in gemstone identification, grading, and mineral specimen mining, as well as in various capacity building workshops for artisanal and small-scale miners. Okay, let me just go straight to, he has a very long profile. So by virtue of his position as the president of Miners Association of Nigeria, he's a member, the Mining Thematic Group, MTG, of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG, as well as leader in the mining group of NASIMA. In November 2023, he was appointed a co-chair of the Companies Forum of Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI, before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed him a member of the National Stakeholders Working Group of NEITI in April 2024. As a leader of a major stakeholder in the solid mineral sector, he has been projecting and promoting the partnership and collaborative objective of the association with the ministries, agencies, and other stakeholders in the formulation, review, and implementation of policies and programs for the growth and development of the sector. He is also an active participant, speaker, and contributor in local and international mining seminars, conferences, and technical workshops for mining global best practices. He is married, and the marriage is blessed with children. So, we're going to be welcoming Mr. Dele on the platform. Okay. I don't think he's here yet. While we wait for him, I'll be reading our next presenter's profile. We have Barrister Mrs. Amina Sijuwade on our webinar today. Barrister Amina is a lawyer from Kaduna State, an Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice from 2015 to 2017. Also the Commissioner Environment and Natural Resources from 2017 to 2019. With over 2 decades of working in the private sector, Mrs. Sijuwade's experience spans consultancy in business development, investment promotion, among other areas. She currently holds executive positions in several junior mining companies. She currently holds executive positions in several junior mining companies and was responsible for a statewide strategy for the development of the solid mineral sector in Kaduna State. She is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, as well as several mining focus groups. We welcome Barrister Mrs. Amina to our midst this afternoon. Thank you, Ma, for accepting our invitation. And our last speaker is Mr. Gideon is no more online. I wanted to share. Mr. Gideon, can you give me permission to share the profile?
Okay, you can, the profile.
Yes, for Mrs. Diamond.
Oh, you can speak now. Speak, no problem. And read about that. I will. Let me see. I think I will go on. You can share. You are the host. You can share.
Okay. Okay. Our next presenter on today's webinar is Mrs. Diamond Edward Idoni. She's a visionary leader and development economics with over 15 years of distinguished experience in the extractive industry. She holds degrees in education from the University of Port Harcourt and mass communication from the Rivers State University of Science and Technology. Her extensive career in the oil and gas sector and the mining industry has honed her technical skills and positioned her as a key player in the industry. Her deep understanding and strategic insights have earned her a place on the boards of several prominent companies and now leads the management team of the Field of Diamond Limited as the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director. Her leadership at the Field of Diamond Limited is marked by innovation, strategic growth, and a commitment to excellence. Known for her strong ethical values and philanthropic efforts, she is a God-fearing woman whose actions in business and charitable endeavors make her a positive impact on the community and beyond. She exemplifies the qualities of a dynamic leader, balancing her professional acumen with a genuine commitment to making a difference in the society. Well, welcome Mrs. Diamond to our midst this afternoon. We're glad to have you, ma'am, to present on this topic today. So we'll be moving straight away to our discussion for today.
Okay, can you hear me, Mitchell? Can you hear me? Can you bring down the sharing, your sharing screen? Can you bring it down? And
yes,
try to also follow up. Try to also follow up on President. But before that, we have to go on and see if we can actually run on this. I welcome everyone once again. Sorry for that interruption, but we can run as we can. Please try to get, I don't know, I've been trying to get a President online, but he's not been picking up. So, okay, without wasting much time, Madam, I want to first commend your joining us today. Please, can you welcome our listeners? Can you welcome our listeners to? Can you hear us? Okay. unmute. Okay, okay, Mrs. Diamond Edward is also here. I can see her. Please, you are welcome to the platform, madam. Okay, we can't hear you. Mrs. Diamond, can you hear us? Unmute yourself. Ms. Diamond, can you hear us? Can you meet her? Please unmute her. Unmute yourself. You are still on mute. Okay, before that, Barrister Mrs. Amina, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, madam. Okay, can you take it up from here? Having seen the issues on ground, there are a lot of things that we need to discuss. But first of all, can I have your general feelings about the state of affairs in the mining sector?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gideon. And let me start by appreciating your invitation to join and participate, contribute to this Zoom webinar on such a topical issue. The state of the sector right now in the country is one of, in my perspective, one of bewilderment, I think, and some confusion, particularly, I think, due to, as you said, the recent developments regarding some very heavy impositions or announcements regarding rates. This, of course, is just one of the many issues that require addressing and discussion and contribution or assistance to the government of the day. It is my hope that with the panel of discussants you have invited here, I really, really hope the man president can join us. His views are critical to our discussion, his contribution. So I would enjoin any of your people to ensure they reach him and he joins us. But nevertheless, it is my hope that our discussions here today will give some valuable insights and contributions that we can use to add to the other voices, one of which you mentioned at the beginning of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, ma. Ms. Diamond, can you hear us now? Can you?
Yes, please.
Okay, you're welcome to this platform, and I know that you're one of the you sure you are involved in all areas. You are involved in mining, you are involved in exploration, you are involved in processing. And that is an interesting thing to have you here on our platform. Welcome once again. And there is nothing going on here that will not affect you directly or indirectly, definitely, no matter how it is. So can I have your feel about what's been going on in this sector? How do you feel about the sector since the inception of this government?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on. Yes, okay. We can hear you.
Generally, my own opinion, because this this meeting will also gear to other listeners, and what people feel might not 100% count. And why I said so is that you know, every individual or every company or every organization have what drives them. You understand? They have what drives them. And if I were to say individually as a company about what is going on or the ongoing rates or the inflation of things generally, I would say it's kind of disturbing. And why I said it's kind of disturbing is because we have all manner of entrepreneurs in the industry. We also have, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yes, we have everybody knows what he or she wants from business, as to say. So you look at the downliners, you look at the key players. You also look at the small scale, you also look at the big picture.
It seems we've lost you. Are you there? Okay, yes, I just got in touch with the president, Vice President now. He said his flight was shifted to this time, so he's actually interfering, but he needs to join in at any time to make his own contribution. With that, I will also want to let me check if Patrick Odiegwu is here. He's also one of the stakeholders that could actually stand in this place also. Patrick Odiegwu, okay, he's here. Patrick, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, please, you need to stand up for your man.
Yeah, I know. He was,
he just called me back now that his flight was shifted to this time and it's actually interfering with his program and all that. But he will try to join, even if it's a few minutes and all that, and make his own contribution. And with that, okay, let me just ask you the same thing, just in a minute, because a lot of things need to be discussed. Can you just tell us what you've actually felt since inception of this government in terms of solid mineral policy making and other things going around, and other efforts they actually brought on board since December 2023?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon to every one of us. I think it's a very topical information. The situation is alarming, to say the least. But at the same time, from the engagement yesterday with the Honorable Minister and the Permanent Secretary, and Engineer Oncom was from the government side, and all the interested groups involved in mining, as defined in the letter that was posted this morning. We made our point very, very strongly. But what was coming out from the minister's side is that it is a measured opinion, that their actions were well measured.
Patrick, sorry, can I stop you here? Sorry, can I stop you here?
Sure.
You have a lot of time. You have other things to talk about that. I need your general feelings on this government in terms of solid mineral policy making since December 2023. What is your opinion?
Okay, specifically to the perception of the government.
Before we go into other ones.
Okay, two things at work. One, they want solid mineral to immediately become an income earner for the state.
Okay.
But there's a lacuna in the understanding of where the sector is and where they want to take the sector to. There is still a gap, serious gap that needed to be bridged. But from a nationalistic point of view, I think that the ministry is on the right track, nationalistic point of view. From a business side and realistic side, there's gap that they have not covered. They have not closed deliberately. They have not closed those gaps, and they want to jump over those fences. It's not possible to do so. So it's walking and talking. That's where we are.
Okay, now I'll stop you there. That's good. I think from what you are saying, there's an adage that says in a place that when you are not where a dead man is buried and you are asked to excavate the corpse, when you come in, you will not even know where to start the excavation from. Instead of going from the head, you might go from the leg. So I think that's actually the summary of what they are trying to say. There are a lot of things they need to look at, understand what is going on. Like I keep on saying, most of the time I tell them there are some even technical issues that they need to bring on board and look at. Who are the major people that are supposed to actually bring up this mining sector? Is it the junior miners? Is it the bigger miners? Is it the just small scale miners? Are you going to do aggregation? How are you going to structure your exploration? How are you going to do this to get your data and others before you go on and know the kind of structure to bring in to support this sector? Okay, I get it from there. Madam, I will come to you in terms of, if you look at what the minister said in the conference, in the press conference last time, they were talking about 50% rates. But honestly, what we have is not anywhere close to 50% rate. Sure, the minimum raise we have is 500%. The minimum raise we have is 500% in especially, why I'm not even bothered about the rates in that like the royalties is when you are in production, when you are producing, making some rate might not really, if it's working and we're already producing, might not be an issue. So many people understand that yes, everything that's supposed to have been done is actually done. That's why production is on. But if you look at it, we can barely count how many mines that are producing, how many mines are producing, how many mines are in production before you talk about royalty. And the major thing that needs to be done before this mine starts have not actually been done. I think that is where Patrick is actually coming up from. And that is actually what I've also seen personally. Then looking at some of these rates is very, very interesting to actually talk about them. But let's look at it. Madam, do you think there is negative, or what do I say, there negative or positive impact of some of these rates that the government has actually made? Barrister Mrs. Amina, do you think there is it, can we say it's positively actually, or is it negative in terms of the sector, all these rates that you've seen today?
Okay, well, I will take off from one of the comments you made. This is a sector that is, most of the time we say is a sector in infancy. It's a sector that is undeveloped. It's a sector that needs to be opened up. But I would add to that this is a sector on its knees. Why do I say that? This is a sector that has from going back from the 60s, when it was thriving, when the interest and focus turned to oil and gas, is a sector that went back to its fetal stage. So to agree with you, how many other companies or individuals involved in informal mining? It's a sector populated by small size. We barely even have a few medium-sized mining companies in operation and operation in profit. How many of them have managed to cross over into profitable production and then to have to face this kind of very heavy imposition of taxes and increments? Now, what I see, what is going to happen is, as we have all discussed severally on the platform, it's just going to make individuals, it's going to make the informal and illegal mining thrive even more. And for the organized, the very small organized section of the industry, the effect is going to be complete capital investment erosion. Unfortunately, I see these increments as punitive. Mr. Patrick mentioned that, from a policy point, it is, the intention trying to sort of explain where the government is coming from. But my position and my question is, the government, as far as I'm concerned, has never invested in this sector. And I stand to be corrected. The government has not done what it should do to develop the sector, whether in terms of capacity development, whether in terms of infrastructure. We've been talking data for close to or more than a decade now. And this is an area that globally government provides to de-risk the sector, and then the investors take up from there. Government has not done this part. So I find it difficult to understand the rationale or what excuse we can give for this kind of punitive increment in rates. So across board, whether it's just going to mean that the illegal mining will thrive, even for something as basic as dealing with insecurity, they're still grappling with it. The few fire and what do you call them, regulation or arrests that have been made, there are problems with that. Both illegal and legal miners are suffering at the hands of the task force. So a lot has to be done. Government has to show its commitment and focus on developing the sector. And then the players, both local, international, can sit down. There has to be critical engagement and discuss. Taxation, I don't think any of us here on this platform disagreed on the fact that taxation is a very, very important part of developing any nation's economy. And we need it, especially in the developed, in the underdeveloped world, in developing economies like Nigeria. No, there's no argument about that, but it has to be done right. And this punitive increment in rates, as I call it, is just not the way to go. It's untimely. It's not well informed, I dare say, and it needs a lot of further discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Madam. I think the same. I won't actually disagree with what you just said. I've said these number of times that raising digs will actually bring in a lot of negative impact when it comes to small-scale miners. Because if you look at what's going on, most of the small-scale miners do not even, that is even the essence of bringing in cooperative licensing, you know, them coming together as cooperative. And even as that, it's difficult to even ensure that this is actually carried on. But now, if you look at the EL was raised from 100,000 to 600,000 for application. And cadastral unit was raised from 2,000 to 31,500. That is 500% increment, not 50%, not 100%. So, the rationale behind these raises, we can actually, okay, I think Madam President is here. Sir, can you hear us? And I see his hands. Maybe he can make his, sir, can you hear us?
I'm hearing you, and I want to appreciate if you can be giving just okay. 1 or 2 minutes to make if it's a good message, because where I am now, I don't want to disturb you. It's a noisy place. I'm in the airport. My flight was rescheduled to this time, unfortunately. So, and I just want to appreciate IAMESEP for what they have been doing to advance the course of the sector. I want to appreciate all participants. At least I've listened to about 2 or 3, and I quite very much appreciate what has been said. Patrick has given you a report of what happened yesterday between this group of stakeholders and the minister. But we want to see this issue of this increment in rates as a just work in progress. We have been bid again to meet the chairman of the review committee next week Tuesday by the grace of God. And we hope that we continue to advance, because like Ajia Amina just said, well, if it is punitive, we didn't know whom exactly they actually want to punish for this kind of rate. And it's very, very unfortunate. But definitely, like he has said, I think it is not good for the sector, because this is a sector that is majorly being operated by small-scale operators, and all the incentives that the government is supposed to have given for development of this category of operators, they are still hanging. So why this sudden increment? 500,000%, 1,000%, it is just too outrageous, and we are still on it anyway. The minister agreed yesterday to the issue of reducing the royalty rates based on some discovered wrong parameters in terms of prices of materials, but is insisting on retaining all those MCO rates, which will continue to advance the cost of reduction. And it's on this one I want to encourage all the other stakeholder groups to please join us in this advocacy to make sure that we bring this down to the normal level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that short message and your contribution. We really appreciate you on that. I think that's why we are here. We want to ensure that we are speaking with one voice. Clearly, it is a very, for me, I think it has a lot of negative impact on this industry. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your contribution. Okay, Patrick, are you there?
Yes,
Patrick,
I'm here.
Okay, Patrick. Okay, please. You heard what our president just said on this, and why he's now actually going to join us fully. Okay, we are talking about the negative impact on the rigs. What is your opinion? What is your own contribution to this?
Yeah, I think the rates, they just tested the water. My perception on this is that they tested the water. They want to see how they can weed out speculators. There are people that are holding licenses because they look at some areas and they see there's a very vast applications and licenses issued with no commiserative work being done. So they believe that those people are holding these licenses as a trading article, as a means of conducting business on licensing without the actual mining work being done. That's one. Now, they're thinking that if they raise so expansively, that will get those people to relinquish those licenses. That's on one side. But you don't do punishment from a negative angle, right? Or you do punishment from a negative Zoom, mobile phone is not always very compliant. Calls are coming. I hope I'm heard. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So the angle we came from yesterday is not to be combative. We said, okay, let's look at this thing for what is what. What is the impact of solid mineral development in Nigeria? Is it to develop foreign assets or is it to develop local assets, local content, enable Nigerians to come into the mining space and build up the capacities of Nigerians? And if that's what we want to do, we have to be very deliberate. So in one intention, you want to do away with speculators, but it's still going to impact on the genuine miners. So how do we walk that narrow path so that we don't disenfranchise genuine Nigerian miners that are interested in doing great work in the sector? So that's where the minister is really dancing. And he's saying, look, that if compare the rates and compare with West African regions, that our rates are still very, very low. That's an argument that he threw up. We said, look, in most of these jurisdictions, right, they always have support from systems, from their governments, in terms
I think call is coming in your phone.
Of exploration.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to take the call and decline it.
Okay, all right. Okay, if it comes back again. So basically, our argument is this sector is still at a very formative stage. It requires all the support that we can get. Right now, we don't think that we are being fully supported by the institutions, be it from the government side or even from the financial institution side. So we need to find a fine line to, first of all, remove the draconian charges, because those charges, 5,000%, what is that? There is no way you will make a case and it will be reasonable. But at the same time, if you want to disabuse people having multiple licenses, There are so many other ways you can use to do so without killing the sector, because this will be a death knell to the sector. So at that point, the minister started becoming, initially he said, look, there's no going back. If people want to fight him, he's a media czar, he can take everybody on. And I said, sir, if you're the only one left in the sector, it will be there will be no sector. So at the end of the day, let's find a way to collaborate, to cooperate, and find how we can develop this sector for the best interest of Nigerians. That's our preoccupy. But initially, it started with questioning our patriotism, because there are reports that they've gotten on how people have been doing illicit export, that the proceeds that is coming recorded by the customs and from the ministry and are not aligning, that they see there's a lot of gap in both records, that people are getting themselves very rich to the detriment of the society in general. And I said, yeah, that's a very valid point. But punish those that are that deserve to be punished. Don't punish everybody at the same time. So he's willing to engage. The chairman, like our president pointed out, there's going to be a meeting next week, Tuesday. In that meeting, we would, as much as he doesn't want us to discuss the MCO prices or rates, we will still get into it, because it's really, really very disappointing. 5,000%, nobody can stand, unless you're Dangote of this world, Goa of this world, or you are in production, mining gold, like Sejilola Thor Exploration Limited. Those ones can wither any storm that's in front of them. But for people like us, we'll be, looking for the best route to go back to our village and become one tapper.
Okay, let me hold you there. Patrick, let me just come in there. Why I'll come in there is that when I look at some of these rates, if there are some rates that may be commensurate with production, then when you look at the structure behind it, you will say, yes, it makes sense when it comes to mining leads or somebody who is actually producing. Now, if you look at the rates in exploration license, now from the exploration license, from the standing law, you can take up to 200, 400, 500 cadastral units for exploration. And we understand that if you are doing exploration, if you're into exploration, say something like you are looking for a vein type mineral or you're looking for a stratified type mineral. These are minerals that are not actually, you don't know where they are. These are minerals that require to, search in a large expanse of land. You can't just start searching for a mineral within a 5, 10 cadastral unit already found. Do you understand? And because of the peculiarity of exploration, that's why we have 3 years, first 3 years, have the second 2 years, and have another 2 years, which is a total of 7 years. We understand what is involved in all the exploration process. That's why 7 years is actually given. You understand? Now, you already know these laws. You are giving someone about 200 cadastral or 400 or 600 cadastral, the case may be, up to 1,000 cadastral units. You are saying that for you to pay 2,000 per cadastral, you are still certain that now government is not giving you money for exploration. There is no financial institution that's come out to sponsor the exploration. Everybody wants you to mine and sponsor. At that stage, it's a very risky venture. The risk at the exploration stage is still very, very high. Now, at that stage, you still want to raise the cost of payment from 2,000 to 21,500, which is like, if you are having something like 600 cadastral, you need to be paying over closely about 20 million or something in annual fees for just exploring. Meanwhile, that is when government should even look for something to back you up and support you to explore and find the mineral. Do you understand? So for me, I think that these are some of the critical stages, because if you don't find the mineral, you will not mine. They won't make the money. So the every emphasis of the government, especially on the MCO, is just to generate cash, generate money, but if you generate money, you have, now, let me tell you, Nigeria will have about 60,000, over 60,000 licenses. Do you understand? How many mines do you have?
Currently, they have about 6,000 licenses. Currently.
They have
the
what?
figure was 6,000, about 6,000 licenses. They have about 6,000 licenses. They share the data with us here, right? But we have to look at what the ministry is trying to do is to be an income generating body. They want to generate income. That's one thing that was very clear. Another thing they want to do, they want to weed out some local miners that are holding those licenses because they want to invite some big mining companies that have shown interest because they're now beginning to see the numbers from some of these small mining that we're doing, what the Chinese are now doing. They're seeing some numbers. So those numbers are becoming interesting. So they want to see how they can relatively weed out the very compromised pocket. And our argument is we should not be foreign focused. We should still be local focused. And we need to bend over backwards to accommodate our local players. Because if we don't accommodate our local players, what will happen is that Nigerians will be a slave in their own country. So these decisions have consequential impact on our psychology, on development of our nation, and the capacity of Nigerians in the Nigerian economy, especially the critical sector of mineral and mining sector. They are very critical. They support so many other sectors. So, because of the way we met with him yesterday, he wasn't expecting that type of meeting. He was thinking that maybe we're going to lie down and die. But by the time you see that, with all due respect, we came out and we state our point very cogently. And we start making demand on him. And some of those demands were demand that is statutory, that is constitutional, captured in the law, right? There are things that you ought to and should do for minors. There are things that is expected of SMDF to do for minors. That's why we are saying it may not be Uhuru yet. It may not be as bad as it appears because they are willing to review. And Engineer Uncom was very clear that this is not a decision that has been, taken. It's a review. So review continues. So
okay, Patrick, hold it there. I'll come back to you. I think Lady Diamond is also back online. Madam, can you hear me? Because I need your impact. I need your comments on this in terms of a negative impact to the mining sector as a result of this race. Can you hear me, man? You can unmute yourself. I don't think we can hear you.
Until you get her back, do you mind? Can I just add to what Patrick said?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Can you make your comments, yes, on that?
Yes. Just to direct it, follow up from what Patrick said. What I think there is a little misconception in if Patrick is correct in his position that what they're trying to do is unseat or deal with the issue of speculators and everything. There's an assumption that if all the speculators, because of this new rates, will just hand over their licenses or lose them. I mentioned in one of my previous comments that a good majority of the operators are just, even those that have been mining illegally, a good number, I guess, will go underground. What does going underground mean? Underground means that already we have a big problem in the sector. The biggest problem we have is illegal mining. Going underground for even the legal operators, because you have now made operations very, very difficult and unprofitable due to so many impositions, the rates being number one, means that even these foreign investors that the present government might be trying to attract or might be trying to prepare ground for will find the terrain inoperable. Not all, the majority of the sector is going to, and we know when there's illegal options, it also lends insecurity. So there's a need for the authorities to realize that, again, for them to come in and provide the necessary enabling environment, invest in the sector, develop certain basic fundamental infrastructural plans for the sector to grow. They need to do that. Fine. Oh, we welcome the foreign investment. We do. In fact, some of the small mining companies and the medium mining companies are waiting for this so that they can partner and ride on their backs to grow. But it's like putting the cart before the horse. If these fundamental issues are not dealt with and you think that just because you're going to use rates, that certain people are going to give them up, then the people you want to give the titles to are not going to be able to operate. And then the sector is going to continuously remain undeveloped. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This has been my issue, my position. I said this clearly, that the funniest part of the whole thing is that the people you want to weed away, you are thinking you can weed away, has a nuisance value that you cannot even contain with. You understand?
Absolutely.
There are a lot of places today that no matter who you are, you cannot mine in that location if the communities are not with you. I can't call, there are a lot of them, there are a lot of places. You cannot mine irrespective of who is behind you in this country. You will never mine in that community unless the community say you will mine. I've got that experiences everywhere. They will tell you, you will get your mining lease, you come back here, we'll give you our own mining lease. Because if you talk about mining lease and the money you've paid in Abuja, they will tell you that the government do not care that they exist. And you cannot do anything. We want to talk about the issues of what happened in Cross Rivers when Ashapura used the armies, use a lot of guys for how many months. You get tired. The army checkpoint cannot stand for some months, and you are the one spending the money. They are still in their host community. At the end of the day, you go with your army, they continue with their work. You understand? So these are the critical issues we need to understand. So saying you want to remove the local community or local guys or the host guy, it's just like coming to a particular location. Even where I am right now, we're having the same issues. You go to where I went for exploration, they said, the guy said in his concession he wants to, I said, let me tell you, guy, what you need to do is to find a structure. Teach these people, give them a portion, tell them how to mine, try to protect what they are doing, then you can work. You cannot come in here, they don't have business, they don't have any other thing to do. Once you cannot give them something to do, they will disturb your work. You cannot mine. So these are the things we need to understand. It's not just about raising money for the government. It's not about raising an exploration license to 1 million per cadastre. It doesn't make sense. The issue at the end of the day, is there any results? Are you getting any results? And let me say this. If you make all the license, if you want to generate and want to put at any bar that you've raised this amount at the end of the year, how much employment have you given to the youth? How much persons have benefited from this? Is it just going to the government coffers or not? The monies we have in the government coffers, how has it benefited? How has it given employment? How has it actually given empowerment to the local person? So these are the things that we need to understand, we need to do. No matter how you want to do it, the issue of gold, let me just take, for example, the issue of gold in Nigeria. The issue of gold in Nigeria and the way golds actually occur in Africa generally, you might not see some of this in Europe, but in Africa generally, the root evil, the root of entire thing, of every ill that actually being committed here, it's just as a result of bad governance. Leadership is a problem. When some people are hungry, under their bed, you tell them they will not remove the gold because it's under exclusive list. Come on, it can't happen. It can't happen. And government said they don't have business in the business of the mining, but they just want to make money. How much have you contributed an incentive to the local? So there are so many things that need to be done, you know. But I think, okay, I want to give Madam, can you hear me, Diamond? You are here now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Please, let's hear your thoughts on all this.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Alhaji, Mrs. Amina, Patrick, and every other person.
Sorry, ma. Please, if you have, I have some people that we are sending some messages on the some comments. You can send in your comment. We can read it later on. We have time, and you can also raise your hand from the platform, if you have general thing to actually comment on this. So, Ma, you can go on.
Okay, my general thoughts, like I was saying initially, that most of all these ideas or topics raised are like individual based. And why I said that is because the government wants to make money. I was also with DG Mining Cadastral Engineering Comp, and I raised a lot of displeasures when it came to that. Now, but I want to talk on specific things as geared towards these increments. Like they said, you won't jump the guns. First, when they come in or they took over the sector, they should have done a lot of sensitization. Now, what do I mean by sensitization? Creating an awareness on developments, number one. Number two, going into these communities, like by judging by states where you have all this mineralization occurring. Tell the people, this is how this thing needs to be done. Not just inflating the prices and leaving small-scale miners or leaving genuine miners to start having a lot of issues without considering how, whether if they make money, that will now turn in to generate this income you're looking for by the government or for the government. Now, one of the reasons why I'm going to cite is using my own case study. Just like Gideon said, you cannot enter most of these communities to mine. Very impossible. And most of them mine locally without licenses. These same Chinese people, these same foreign investors will buy it on peanuts. If you are selling, let's take barite as an instance, and in River State, you're selling barite at 100 naira, and these local miners are going to sell to them at 50 kobo. And you that is a genuine miner, you understand, Mr. Gideon? You that is a genuine miner.
You carry all the costs.
How much? Yes, you now carry the cost. Now, not only that cost, you're paying, I take for instance, Cross River State, because I'm in Cross River State, and you're paying to the federal government, you're paying their rates, you're paying to the state, you're paying to the local government, then you're also paying to the community. And now you're selling at 100 naira. Then the man in the community that is locally, because it's his farmland, is selling at 50 kobo. At what point are you going to break even? Where are you going to meet your profits? How are you going to satisfy your own? Because now you're supposed to give 100 metric tons to a particular company, and the local man is selling behind closed doors. Nobody's asking him any question because it's his community. Mm-hmm. And the state knows that this is my stakeholder. He's a stakeholder for being a member of the community. Now, I just want to keep that aside because I wouldn't want to ponder on it so much because you don't cry over spilled milk. Now, the best thing they should have done is to create, like when I went into Cross River State about 14 years ago, I called some of the stakeholders. I took them into the community to create awareness. That was where I started. And tell them that this is not how it is done in the outside world. This is how it's supposed to be done. To a great extent, I achieved them coming together to understand that government rules and laws ought to be met. That much I can boast of in Cross River State. Now, going by the new rates, if I come as a small-scale miner to pay you what you've levied to us, and we are all selling the same price, whether you're the up marketer or you're the down marketer, being the small-scale miners or the big people. You understand? Now, all of us are paying the same rates. Are we selling the same things? Are these minerals with the same price? These people, most times, with the help of this same government, take these things outside, most times illegally, and we know all that. Mm-hmm. But we are meant to come back. So our president, with all due respect, I think he has a very good point, a goal point that they should bring down these prices because it's going to have a lot of negative influences, not just only on small-scale miners, Mr. Gideon. It's also going to tell in the different states and in the different mining sectors, like going by the different minerals. You understand? it's going to be a very negative start. Because okay, now take for instance, I heard Mr. Patrick say the minister had showed them a breakdown of just 6,000. Yes, I was in engineering incomes, and the interview I had with him, or the discussion I had with him, was that they want to first know who are these miners. So you will see with me that even if you want to create that awareness that we want legal people, and we want to break down those that are holding dormant licenses on hold, using it to trade behind closed doors, unaware to the government or to the federal states. Yes, I accept that 100%. I accept that. So that we that are in business will know who we are. We'll know our colleagues. Do you understand? We'll know people that are genuine and legit. Because now everybody seems to be like, you have a situation where you have a small scale mining license. Then somebody is also having the same license on the same environment. So I think that cleaning up the sector, they should have, hello, can you hear me, Mr. Gideon?
I can hear you.
Cleaning up the sector. Yes. So cleaning up the sector would have been the first start. By going into these various communities where this mining are done, educate the people. Because like Mr. Patrick said, they are jumping the guns.
Okay, sorry, but wait, I saw, I'll get back to you. Let me see. It seems I saw the man president raising his hands. I don't know. So are you still there?
Yes, I just want to, because I've been following this time my condition here, I've been following discussion and the thing is becoming very interesting and encouraging. I just want to correct one impression from Patrick that unless the big miners can pay those rates, I want to tell you that the big miners you have been calling me to encourage me to push ahead that there's no way they can pay that rate and still in business, especially those of them who are still participating in mining business. You see, every business concern is in business for profit, no matter how marginal. But when you see that you can't make any profit by way of government, any government regulations, what is left for you to leave that business and maybe diversify or look another way? And unfortunately, the only thing is that these people, these big miners, so-called big miners, they have means of diversifying. Out of all these small scale operators who are the major investors in the business. So I just want to let you know that even the big miners, they have been calling me behind the scene to tell me that there's no how we can pay the percent rate. Unfortunately, they don't come. This is another party. These people don't come to be part of us. I don't know whether you are hearing.
Yes.
So they don't come to be part of also that they can influence our money. The government is operating under very strict budgets. So these are one of the challenges I have.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I think you've tried as much. Let's contribute to our today's discussion. We appreciate that your efforts, and we also understand your schedule. All that. Okay. Let's just have a feel from other people. I see some other hands here from the platform. Let's just go back to because we don't have much time now. Let's just Antonio too. I can see your hand. Then I'll just please make your contribution straight to the point, not more than a minute, so that we'll be able to capture other things we actually want to do. Antonio too, can you make your contribution? Mitchell, can you unmute Anthony? Then from that, we also have some contribution here on some text messages from Ibrahim. Okay, he said, good afternoon, all. I am happy to contribute to the discussion of today, and I hope to spare some time afterwards in joining such events for betterment of the sector. The president has raised so many awareness with regards to the stand on the government, but to question the whole structural system, let's try to see it from 2 points of view, the government and the business itself. From the government point of view, actually observe the commitment of the government is what are the contributions of the sector towards revenue, which I and everyone knows mining sector is a revenue generating sector to the government. The policy is ripe for a standard sector, but notwithstanding Nigerian mining sector is very insignificant and small to contribute to the expectations of the sector. So this decision is decisively revenue oriented. And perhaps the second thing is that the government are still pushing such policies to fish out vague registered licenses, which are owned by business, which cannot deliver. Okay, that is it. Mitchell, please, can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute? Okay, you can speak now, please.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay. Okay, my greeting to everyone. My name is Anthony. I want to raise an issue that to do with global price. You know, I don't know if government is taking into consideration raising the royalty or increasing the royalty. In some other climate, in some other countries, you make a planning for maybe 10 years, and I'm sure parties know about it. You make a forecast for 10 years, maybe 5 years, and then you fix the reality, taking into consideration the demand and supply. So now, for instance, at the moment, the prices of lithium ore are seriously going down, and the government has fixed an arbitrary price for royalty for lithium and some other minerals. And why the price is going down? What will the government do about that? So this and some other things. I know the mining is evolving. Like Madam said the other time, mining in Nigeria is gold. It is not just being coordinated very well. I was in jail for some time, and at the time I was trading on Tantalite. I was buying at a particular price, and I experienced a very sharp drop in global price, and it affected all our stock. So if government puts it into consideration, the forecast or the trending and supply and demand that will be taking place in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, your contribution. Another contribution here is, I think I can't pick all of them, but other crucial areas of negative impact from this will be the large number of miners and companies which will go out of business. This will contribute to the unemployment numbers and attendant increase in poverty and resort to crime. Now, Madam Barrister, I want to ask you something on this. If eventually, they will also say that if you are asked to send message to the king, you will only go there and deliver your message. You won't actually be asked to carry the king, to come or have the power to tell the king what to do. At the end of the day, if the minister and the, let me just, because it behoves on the minister actually, that is mandate, it is his call. It doesn't change this rate, especially the MCO rates. You think there's any other thing we can do?
Well, it's a question of this government's commitment and this government's sincerity. Its commitment to developing not just this sector, but other sectors of the economy. We have had many false starts by different governments. Some have got some parts right. Some have got some policies, have not implemented properly. We know the impact, positive and negative, we, the players in the industry. It's a hard fact to face, but if these rates are not reviewed, what I would hope for is, I'm happy to hear what the president said, and Patrick also mentioned that certain aspects are going to be looked at. However, the MCO charges, there's no way of avoiding the MCO charges. You see, because this announcement, what they're doing is they're not even, the taxes are not even on production. So you haven't even succeeded yet and started to derive some kind of income or profit. It's from inception. So what is going to happen, to answer your question, if they stand on this and they do not review these MCO rates, it is going to disable quite a lot of companies that have invested. We will have an exodus of investors. This is what I expect because, okay, I represent a few companies, small companies, largely still at the exploration stage, and it has taken us how many years? Oh, for one of them, well over a decade, we're still in exploration. Why? Because we're doing it the difficult way. What is the difficult way? We're doing everything self-funded. Nothing has been given to us by government. We're getting our data, we're bringing in the experts, we're bringing in our machinery, we're doing everything and paying the royalties that are already heavy. So what has this meant? I believe it has slowed down our growth and achieving the goal of reaching, of development. So this is what is going to happen to a lot. Now, there are some that will not have the staying power that we have so far. So that's what is going to inevitably result in an undeveloped sector.
Okay, ma. Thank you. I want to make a very critical comment there. There's something that possibly they do not really understand about this sector when it comes to exploration. The big giants companies, the big boys in this sector all over the world do not actually go in themselves individually to go and do reconnaissance work. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
These are the things they don't really understand.
Yeah.
The big companies, the Rio Tinto will not come in and start looking for barite.
No.
Looking for lead zinc of 0.4 width, of 1 kilometer length, gold of. They don't do that.
Let me add to that.
Yeah.
In fact, we are partnered. We have foreign partners. The only reason why we have been able to get successes is because we had our data. And what is our data? Our data was, our exploration was conducted, analysis and everything, by very, very reputable analysis consultants. So by the time the investors came looking for what to invest in, and they saw the quality of the data, it was a no-brainer. How many companies have the capacity to do this? They're struggling. They're trying to, put things together. They're looking for investors. Like you said, these same investors are shy of exploration. They want to see your verifiable data on the table.
That is what I'm saying. So they don't really understand how this thing works, because most of the company you are actually trying to bring in will not come in and start from nowhere. They need some data. Exactly. And even the kind of data that the government is providing is regional. The regional data, and the one is 1 to 50, 1 to 100, has nothing to do with a cadastral 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of cadastral units. It doesn't have anything to do with 50 cadastral units. This is one data that they may collect one here and collect another one in another 2 or 3 kilometer space. You understand? So without understanding that the local players are like the real lubricants. They are the major people.
They are the engine room. They are the engine room of this sector.
They are the engine room. No foreigner will just come in and jump into, so into the room. So these are the things they really need to understand if they want to actually revitalize it. Because everything depends on the will and mentality. If you already had a mentality, if you have something at the back of your mind before coming in, if there's no, because the issue is, are we willing to make this thing work, or are they just here to make money and go? You understand? So it's all about the political will. You understand? So these are where the issues are. If not, they should understand where the major thing lies. Because if the green guys have not done it to such extent of the risking for someone to come in, because I've attended several meetings this year, talking to investors, doing all manner of things and all that. All the questions have been, let me see what you've done. Let me see what shows that this you are saying there. And how do you do that? It's exploration. And this exploration, you can't walk into any bank and get the money to do it. It's all about self-funding, individuals collecting money together and all that. And on this, you do not understand the beginning, the starting point of this process. You understand? So it's like killing a baby before it's even coming out. So how are you going to nurture the baby and all that? So The minister must understand this. Patrick, please, there is something I also want to ask you on this. Patrick, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Now, at the end of the day, the same question I asked Madam, the MCO rate, you know why I keep shouting on the MCO rate? Because this is very critical. It's very critical because this is where the whole thing starts from. This is where the whole entire thing starts from. And if we are thinking, most people have been thinking that government would have gone into the issue of trying to resolve this issue of state government interference, the major critical issues that the miners are suffering are not even attended to. Now, you know, is actually another worst case scenario. Now, if at the end of the day, the minister refused to bring down the MCO rate, because I think that is his baby, because these are places that, we made money, the year running down, they want to go to the, you know, to the scorecard and say they've made so amount of money. You know, is that actually the major thing here, or they actually want to develop this sector? If at the end of the day, this MCO rate is not down, what do you think is left of us? What do we do? Is there any option for us again?
Yes, look, you see, we want to meet His Excellency, the Honorable Minister, positively. We were actually getting ready for a fight, because in life, you know, you cannot run away from a fight, right? This sector, we are Nigerians. Nobody is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. This sector, some of us have invested heavily. We have worked extremely hard. We have paid tremendous price to still be relevant where we are today, to still maintain our licenses where we have them. So we are not going to just lie down and allow anybody, for that matter, to come in and place us at a strong disadvantage. But we want to make sure that we don't you know, bring the gun when a little slap is necessary, right? So the engagement that we've had is a strong one. They saw that we were coming out in full force with one voice, saying the same thing. Now, from the argument of the minister, which I must point out clearly, he's saying that people are holding licenses, a lot of licenses, that you see one company and you see the same name having over 100 licenses. That cannot be normal, because the argument is Julius Berger, where is doing quarry in Abuja, for all these years, have not even covered 2 cadastral units, right? But you can't use it as a representative information for vein type minerals and other minerals where the miner have not really carried out deep exploration to know if there are deep lying veins. So we are talking about, how do we give those that are actually holding their licenses, maybe 1 license, and they are working, how do we prevent ourselves from punishing those ones? Now, those ones that you can establish that they are speculators, because there are people like that, then you can find a creative way, because you have access to make your point. And once you do that, you know, everything will align properly. So let's not throw the baby with the bathwater. They are willing to listen. We're going to engage next week, Tuesday.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that information. Dr. Mrs. Salau.
In that engagement, even though
can I give Patrick a message for the meeting on Tuesday?
Okay.
Quickly, Patrick, just 2 quick thoughts. If government plays its role as a regulator, there is no reason why the leadership should be standing in front of us and telling us that people are holding, one individual is holding 100 licenses. That's an indictment on government. Because
serious indictment.
Yes, because it is said that we operate a use it or lose it policy. Some revocations have gone on, and we commend the new leadership for that. So what they need to do is dig deeper and go out and monitor and check those that are not using them, or those that are using them against whatever, and clean up the register. Then secondly, the second message, please, I want you to hold on to when you're going. We've seen that, remind me, please, the initiative, some organization, the host community, Federation of Host Communities, have just called for some 5% of derivation to go to them from the 13%. They said they wanted to go to them directly. And then they also talked about money for Miremco should be housed by CBN. What does that sound like to me? It sounds like this comes from a place of general mistrust of government. We have heard MCO have announced increase in the last maybe 3-4 years of their takings from IGR, royalties paid and everything. But on the other hand, what impact has this money made? Where has this money been applied? We don't know. Government doesn't tell us. We don't see the impact. We, the operators, like I said, we are our own government. We go out there and we do the best we can with our own resources. So what government needs to do, it will directly and indirectly deal with speculators, is play their role of administrator and regulator. I like one of the suggestions I saw in news recently. Another organization said the function of regulation should be removed from the ministry. It's a fantastic idea because there's a conflict of interest, and that is part of the reason why we do not have a regulator in this sector. So please, those two things. Government should take a step back and look at its own position and its role that it has played, or whether it has even played a role at all. We are ready to support them in what they want to do to move forward. We agree that government needs resources to develop the sector, but it has to be a two-way thing. It cannot be just take. They have to show us what they're going to be. There has to be transparency, there has to be accountability, and we will work together. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Dr. Misala, before I come to you, let me talk to Lady Diamond. Please, can you make your input?
Yes, please. In addition to what Alhaji Mrs. Amina said, the message to go to the minister, I just want to briefly add that when there are this sensitization thing I'm pounding on, that one, if I apply for a license, that's why you see so many people can hold 100 licenses. When you apply, a consent is given to you to go to the communities to verify, and they will sign, and you take it back to cadastral. Now, the laxity from cadastral office not to go and verify whether these chiefs or these landowners actually gave their consent. It was actually them that signed it, because I've seen a whole lot of situations where they did not, and the people stay wherever they stayed and forged those signatures, and they get those. So if you want to start cleaning up the sector, that will also gear them to achieve their aims, you understand, on developing the sector. Because if you don't do that, you will see a whole lot of even if they've actually removed a lot of dormant licenses, or they've seized some licenses and brought the ratio back to 6,000, you will find out that just give it a little time, that number will still hit the skies again, well over 20 or 30,000, if I'm not mistaken. So please, that's another message I would want Mr. Patrick, when they are going back, to also discuss and tell them that in developing the sector, they should go back to the locals and start there to sensitize them how it works and how consent should be given. And when these lands, like what you were saying, Gideon, when these lines or these allocations are given, how to give them. Because you will find out that in just less than 100 meters, you have more than 4 people. And they don't understand how this thing works. Because when you give somebody this allocation, and in less than 5 meters away from you, you're giving the next person, you're giving so how is it not going to be so cumbersome that all of you will have a clash? You will see a lot of maybe 10 persons having more than 10 licenses in just one particular place. I don't know how that works, but I had similar issues, which at the end of the day ended all of us in courts. So please, that's another added message I want to give to Mr. Patrick. it should be clearly looked onto, not just the revenue generation. That's why you see me, I'm not saying so much on revenue generation, because it's something that is welcoming, like welcoming for a genuine country that really wants to develop itself, but not the way it hits from the start. They should also sensitize the environment. They should sensitize the sector itself, the mining sector, so that these abuse of illegal people, because you keep having those things. It's not we shouldn't just I know the topic of the day, you understand, has to do with the revenue generation or all that. But please, before you generate those incomes, you cannot be causing friction and problems in the community. Most of all these fights that are happening in the locals or in other states are also caused. You understand? They are also caused by this same mining licenses or lease they are giving. So I also support the minister's move or initiative of seizing most of those dormant licenses. But at the same time, too, while new ones want to be given for the so-called good or bigger investors, they should go back to the basics. When you give somebody a form, or the person has gotten a form, I just wanted to use this platform to leash out this seriously. When you give somebody a form, after the person brings the consent should be verified. The mining cadastre should verify the consent that yes, it was actually given from the locals and not forged.
Okay,
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. I'll go to Dr. Misalau and I'll make this comment, and she will need to tell me if there is something like that. For example, in some other places, some other countries, I know that they will call a buffer zone. A buffer zone is such a way that just to protect this kind of conflicts between, two persons having licenses adjoining together. There's a buffer zone of 100 meters. It means that wherever your license stops, you are not supposed to mine 100 meters. The other person is not supposed to mine 100 meters. So that buffer zone is always left as a space. That's to avoid any issue, or avoid issue of you are in my license, I'm in your license. Let's inviting in such in so many places, like in Kogi State, I've handled some issue like that. Someone says, no, my license starts from here. He said, no, it's just 5 meters. The other one says, no, it's 10 meters. Because of some issues of coordinate system, you might not really establish some of these closed meters, talking about 5 meters, 7 meters, 10 meters margin. So the best thing is to have something like a buffer zone, wherever your license, and you have to mine 100 meters, you have to leave 100 meters, the other person needs to leave 100 meters. So two of you are sharing something like 50-50. Madam, Dr. Misalau, can you hear me? Do we have such rules?
I can hear.
Do you have a buffer zone when it comes to license, giving of licenses? Do you have something like that in the mining act?
No, we don't have. We don't have.
Okay. See, so these are some of the issues we're talking about. So Patrick, you are listening to us. You are seeing a lot of assignments being given now. So I hope you're having you're jotting all these things to be taken to our guys. Okay, Tayo, please, Tayo, can you make your contribution? Because I know you are also one of the people that have been hit on this.
Yes. Good afternoon, Gideon. Good afternoon, Deola. Honestly, I did not want to talk on because I've been in the bush almost a week. You could even see me. I was doing farm and mining. So that tells you how busy I am. Very spent, but while reclining on my sofa in the house today, God said I want to use this forum to chip in.
One second.
Can't hear you. Okay.
It is basically to this. I think this opportunity should be maximized. Yes, we have the tax, the payment issue, but we will go forward. It should be a holistic approach. One is this issue of licensing. The issue that Madam Diamond just raised now. Gideon knows that there's an approach that I've made over 3 years now. It's the same thing. When some fellow, and unfortunately, Madam Mommy Salau is one of your retired colleagues that is front for a Chinese company and has been using his muscle to pin us down for 4 years now. There has not been any way out. At that junction of they collected about 300 or 400 CUs without taking consent from more than one person. It's affecting us. So 2, how do we also address the issue of entrance? I think, I don't know how I want to see this, but the entrance in this sector is too open. Now it allows all riffraffs. There's no control. If there's control, I mean 5 CU, 5 meter buffer zone, 10 meter buffer zone shouldn't be a problem. So many people are coming desperate, and you see, I've spent all of my youth in this sector, 30 years plus, and these things keeps recurring. How do we, you see, if you want to kill something, you address it from the root. How do we also look at ourselves? People coming to this sector, yes, it should be open, but there should be something like what COMEC is doing, that there's a table in the ministry where they verify that there's a COMEC stamp. How do we get that? Because
okay, Tayo, I think your network is not that very stable. We have just 15 minutes to close on this discussion, and I would just want us to be very brief, please. I'm giving a final. We need a final. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, make it brief.
Yes.
Make it brief.
Okay, so see, in summary, that is done. So let us, if we will just tackle this thing now, yes, we are coming from the point of view of taxes to be paid and things, but let us just look at the superiority to holistically, and as people that are opportune, educated, a bit privileged, a bit of the elite, let us see how we can generally address all the common things so that we can move forward the sector. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. From this coming from Bright, you say it should be the duty of the Office of Inspectorate to visit and inspect mining sites to see who is mining or not. Let me tell you, the truth of the matter is that if the regulators are doing their work the way it should be, a lot of things we shouldn't be talking about them. That it doesn't. The regulators, now we are bringing up mining marshal. Meanwhile, you have mines inspectorate who are trained, who are professionals in the field, understand the coordinate system, understand the mining licenses, understand where these these illegal guys are. Now, the marshals should be like a backup if they are going on. Now, the marshals is like they now go after some of these things and they take advantage and all that. So they can hold the illegal ones, everybody combined, collect whatever they need to do and all that. No, there's chaos everywhere. There's chaos everywhere. You know, so these things are already
that point, Gideon, that point about mining marshal,
yes,
was among the points that were extensively discussed. You can't have two captains in a boat.
Yes, it's mines inspector that brings a marshal if he's going for implementation. That is how it is done. Now, how it's done is that if there's an implementation or there's a site they want to go for, maybe there's an order or something, it is the mines inspectorate that will call him civil defense. They've been there. They're not like a special inauguration. They're not. It shouldn't be a special ceremony. You understand? It should be. We are going for this. Yeah. All of them are. You can bring in a civil defense. You can bring in. You can bring in a committee.
Point of information.
Yes.
This very, very important point you are raising now was squarely discussed extensively, because we know there's a chaos out there. People are assuming so much power they don't have. So in course of that discussion,
Patrick, sorry, do you know that civil defense will go in, capture whatever they need to capture without any paper, without anything, and the state mines officer, mines inspector, the Meremco, the guys that are supposed to be in the state that will implement all those things and calling them, are looking at them and do not even have power to even talk or do anything. So there is no structure, which is the basic thing that the regulators should be working on.
I'm interested to know what the minister's response was on this point.
The minister's response is that he does not have confidence on the state mines officers, on the federal mines officers, that they've been doing all manner of unpatriotic malfeasance, colluding with all sorts. So we said, sir, even with that, you have to still find a very structured system that will still place these mine marshals under the office and authority of the the federal mines officer in each of the respective states. So he did not insist on having them under his personal control. As it stands today, he is the one that controls them. He is the one that dispatches them, those mines marshal. But he said something that was also very, very, very indicting. He said that he used the constitutional provision of civil defense to make his case, because they couldn't see how he could have a detailed section of civil defense to become mine marshal. So he used the fact that a part of the responsibility of civil defense is to defend and protect national assets. So that was how he was able to put the constitutional
okay.
or the authority, the power.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Can I ask a question, sir? This is another message when you go back, in case people discuss it again. The Mines Inspectorate, they are civil servants. They are being paid with taxpayers' money, with money that is generated that can be used to develop the sector, different parts. When you completely disable or completely ignore that whole cadre of officers, you say they cannot do the job, and then you go and you use people's civil defense. That exactly, you see the contradiction.
And you are
but they're still there. They're still there. The mines inspectors still there, sitting there, receiving their salaries, working still on the establishment and everything. What sense does it make? Now, are the authorities saying that they are incapable of sanitizing that department?
Yes. So there are a whole lot of, Patrick, I think you got our message. You got our message. You have 8 minutes. We got our message. And on that, I will, Dr. Misalawa, are you there? Please, I need your final note on this and some of our speakers that were actually invited today to give us their final comments before we wrap it on today's discussion. But we've actually
I would like to make mine first because I'm going, I have to,
okay,
as I said,
okay, ma'am, you can do that.
So just to say thank you very much again for inviting me. The discussions have been very thorough, engaging, and have brought up quite a few matters that are crucial, topical. It is such an advantage that we have participants here that were a part of the advocacy group that met with the minister and will be meeting again. One thing, since the main thrust of what this initiative has shown to be in generating revenue, this is something we should consider. In countries, similar countries, let me just use our closest neighbor, Ghana, where government has considered increase in rates and has implemented similar policies like this government just did. While there have been other problems in the mining industry, but what was noticed in Ghana here, which is one of the biggest gold mining jurisdictions in the world, what was noticed was that the income that was generated from the industry was impacted. Why? Because, of course, I'm not saying that the main problem was just the rates. There were other problems in the mining industry that impacted the income generated by companies, but the increase in rates played its own major role and affected their bottom lines. And when it affected their bottom lines, their remittances to government was impacted. Studies have been done by it. This is all information is available online. So this message should be, this possibility should be taken back, that the government might be shooting itself in the foot, because I represent quite a few small mining companies. We pay our rates as at when due. If you put us out of business or you make it difficult for us to make profit, we can't pay those dues. So how has government benefited? Thank you very much, Mr. Gideon. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Lady Diamond, please, can we have your final comments on this?
Okay, thank you, everybody, and it's a great honor to be on this platform. But my final take still insists that in the course of getting this, generating these revenues, they should also go back to the drawing board. They should go back to the key players who are these owners of these communities and do a whole lot of sensitization. Because just like Mrs. Amina said, that kicking us out of business by inflating these prices won't be of any benefit to them. Because when we all leave the mining sites, who will now generate those incomes for them? Nobody. So they should still go back to those communities, I insist, and straighten the records by how they give these CU units, how they do things, how the community and the government, you understand, because I was in the one of these meetings with the Mirimco, the mining officers in Cross River State. The mining officers is actually trying his best, but what is his undo is that most times when he goes into the committee, he used to have a lot of face-off with the youths. Why? Because it's my father's land, it's my own, it is this, it is that. Because they don't have the preview information you and I, that so the elites have. What they are after is that's their father's land. And you can't just come and open it and go. Collect government money. It's government, that is their own, they collect their money. Even when you come with your licenses, Mr. Gideon, they will tell you that government cannot stay in his office and give you license. It is we that are the key players, so they shouldn't neglect us. So that's where I want to wrap it up, that a lot should be emphasized, not just the generation of taxes, but they should go back to the field and sensitize the people so that we too, that are rather small scale, big scale, mighty scale, will all have peace. And then that's a generation they are looking for will come at a platter of gold when we are all in business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having you here, and your contribution are well noted. Patrick, please, can you find your final note, a minute on this?
Yes, thank you so very much, Gideon. Dr. Salah, who was also present at the meeting that gave the vote of thanks yesterday. The sand miners, which is really very pathetic. When people make 1,000 naira, you expect them to pay 5,000. It's a journey of no return. I want to ask our members, especially Shola, if she's online, to deep and give us information on what is obtainable in the West African regions. Let's have nation to nation comparison, so that when we are making our case, let it not be that we're just blowing hot air. Let's come up with information that will say, okay, this mining jurisdiction, this is what government is investing in supporting the mining companies. This is what the mining companies are giving back to government. No, let's meet them with facts. But one of the critical points is this: everything that the ministry and the minister is going to do henceforth will receive our red rubber reaction, instant reaction, because we are vested. We have invested a lot in the sector. We are interested in development of Nigeria. We are not only profit driven, even though we are a private company. We want to see development. We talked about the issue of logistics, which is really what government is supposed to do to de-risk the sector further. So it cannot be coming in and then using slide method to extract value that you have not actually supported. So we are not saying no to increase, but we want the increase to be a reasonable increase. 100% increase, 50% increase, 5,000% increase is a no. Nobody, we're never going to accept it. Thank you very much.
Patrick, thank you very much. Dr. Mr. Salau, are you there? Your final closing remark on this, please. If you are not there, I will close for you. Can you hear me? You are still okay, on mute.
I can hear you.
Okay, man.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, please.
If you can hear me, then.
We can hear you. We can
Thank
hear
you
you
very much, all the speakers. You've spoken well. You've touched every bit of what we need to discuss. As Barrister Amina Sujuade have said, I trusted her to everything because she's a grassroots holder of licenses, the medium scale, and the large scale minor. She could say anything, and that is how you meet it in the field. She spoke well by saying that let the administrator regulator do their own work. You can imagine if every state starts stopping mining operation, at what level? Level of exploitation. Will it encourage whoever is coming in to put in his own investment on ground? It would not. Eventually, everywhere will now be full of illegality because nobody will keep its money on the ground. And that is why we must do this sensitization program, as Madam Diamond has said. Let these grassroots people know what mining is all about, such that when you are coming in, they know who is coming in and how to go about it.
Very
and
true.
That is where we are now going to. For verification of consent, as she mentioned, that is clearly written in Mining Cadastral Office. If it's found to be not to be true or not well consented, your license will be withdrawn, will be cancelled. That is ongoing. But for us to go through the long process of cancellation of licenses, why don't we do it at the grassroots level before even the license is issued? That is by saying verifying the status of the signatories on those. But madam, I agree with you, but that will go a long way because most often where you get those licenses might be far away from where you are operating. That is one point I want us to get clear. Yes, there are so many things the regulatory administrative regulators needs to do for us. Let them give us an enabling environment to operate without security issues. However, whatever the cost is, by the time you sectionalize all your costs and see what the government is requesting of you, believe you me, it's nothing compared to what you'll be accruing as gain. And that will make the whole process seamlessly done and everybody will be happy. Why they are trying to send the speculators away, as Madam Amina had rightly pointed out, let them not throw the other ones that are really keen in the mining and mining responsibly, leave the sector, because they are the ones that those people are saying, those international community that are coming in, they have seen that, yes, what they are doing is real and they want to take over. If those kind of people are not there, nobody will come. Look at it now, the 80, 90, like a decade, there was nothing. We're battling with policy formulation, doing this, just to encourage them to come. But they didn't come until when they find out that the pathfinders, the barefooted geologists are already on ground and they are bringing up something. That was when they are now rushing in. So whatever it is, we must curb illegality in the sector so that we will be able to have a security of tenure and then make the money we are talking about for the states, for the local community, for the nation, and the global environment as well. I thank you all for being with us today. For what you have sent us, by Tuesday next week, we will deliver all the messages, and it will be part of what we go to the minister. For your information, the minister is ready to partner with every one of us as a stakeholder.
That's great.
And next time, he has to call on stakeholders before all these things has gone. Because of that, we have quarterly meeting with him from yesterday henceforth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for that closing remark. On behalf of the IAMESEP, on behalf of the AMA group, I want to thank everyone that actually participated here today. I've made this a success. Our presenters, we appreciate your contribution, Mr. Dele Ayanliki, MAM President, Mrs. Diamond. I thank you, Barrister Mr. Amina, Mr. Patrick, Tayo, Mr. Tu, Dr. Mrs. Salau, every other person that is here, that some have said, some have not said. Dr. Gafar, I can see you. Tayo, you are welcome. So Bright, I thank everyone for being part of today's program. Have a wonderful day ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.